I'm Adam from WhatCulture.com, and what just happened? The answer? 2 words: women's wrestling. Not Divas Revolution, not unwieldy bitch fest, not nine-headed monster made out of shrill and boring. That's more than 2 words, but get off my case, Dad! Last night there was another NXT TakeOver special, the best things in wrestling, infesting in your kids' ears and nesting. And for the first time in a WWE Live special, it was headlined by 2 women. And boy, isn't it surprising what people will take seriously if you take it seriously. For extra thoughts, you can check out my Twitter feed at adamtheblompier.com. But for my potted ups and downs, well, on the downside, yes, Baron Corbin and Rhino going over, that's a rare example of it feeling like NXT doesn't know what the fans want rather than swerving them to get heat. It just... well, I've never seen the NXT fans chant bullshit before. That's new. In the Dusty Rhodes final, I think it was a shame that they used exactly the same finish from Joe and Finn's semi-final. Also the fact that Finn Balor's knee, that whole narrative didn't really pay off. Yeah, he was selling the knee the whole match, but then he just hit all his big moves at the end anyway. I mean, it was fine, but that coupled with the fact that no one really wanted Baron Corbin and Rhino to be there, it sort of made the final lack that kind of electric atmosphere of the semi-finals. There was an atmosphere more, rather, what could have been. I guess everyone was just really ready, willing, and utterly gable. And on the upside, everything else. No hyperbole, this is probably one of the best TakeOver specials they've ever done, and considering that the TakeOver specials regularly leave the WWE pay-per-views in the dust, that is saying something. Everyone looked good here. Dawson and Wilder, they showed great tag team heel fundamentals. Baron Corbin and Rhino, they squeezed every last drop of heat out of the crowd, and there was a lot of it. Jason Jordan and Chad Gable. Oh, Gable. Sweet Gable. Beautiful Gable. The fans went mental for him last night. He has, in a short amount of time, become one of the most over people on the roster, and he looked like a superstar. And like a tall Peter Dinklage. You will never be able to unsee that. Asuka versus Dana Brooke, that was just the loveliest murder. It was like watching a Rottweiler with a chicken in its mouth. I liked it. Tyler Breeze got in way more offense than anyone thought he would. Apollo Crews continues to impress, and the tribute to Dusty Rhodes was deeply touching, even though it did sort of look like they were giving Joe and Finn a set of astronaut boots. I get the gesture, but it just looked like space boots. So, the Iron Woman match. Probably the best women's match of all time. Now, I'm not saying it's the best worked women's match of all time. Bayley and Sasha Banks' match at TakeOver Brooklyn was probably, from a technical standpoint, slightly better. It's hard to say that match is really well worked when Sasha Banks landed directly on her head at one point. Are you okay? But in terms of the hype that was created around it, in terms of the spotlight in the industry on these issues, in terms of the impact that it could have potentially on the mainstream wrestling scene, it's a small phenomenon. Seriously, you have to see it, really, in terms of holding the crowd, them chanting women's wrestling, of actually feeling like a movement. I'm not trying to be a shill here, but even if you cancel after just 1 month, that match is worth $9.99. It was a perfect example of creative setting up a simple story, then getting the hell out of the way. There was no overbooking, it just let it grow over half an hour that went by just like that. It was half an hour of beautiful chain wrestling and amazing character moments. Sasha Banks turned in one of the best heel performances in the last decade. She made a small girl cry. That made the fans outraged. It was amazing. That is wrestling at its most pure and most joyous, and not just because I like seeing little girls cry, because I'm unbalanced. Bayley looked like a warrior. She upped her aggression, viciously attacking Sasha Banks' hand and wrenching her at the final conclusion. Yes, you could quibble about the fact that maybe Sasha Banks should have held on for a few more seconds and it had gone to sudden death. But who cares? The last moments of the match were just so exhilarating. I can't remember the last time I've ever felt like that watching a women's match. And at this stage, we really need to stop talking about NXT people fighting to get on the main roster and need to talk about the main roster people fighting to get a chance to perform at NXT. Because the ladies last night, they didn't talk about a Divas Revolution, they just went out there and did it. And that is what just happened. What did you think of NXT TakeOver Respect? Tell us about it in the comments, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and you can even follow me on Twitter. Here, I'm Adam from WhatCulture.com, and I'll see you soon.